Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings. Big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the pod, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the thing. So
Win or really ugly loss, we are live!
Do it for Deuce and Mo.
Deuce, Mason, Morgan, Reagan. You know what? I'm not letting the Kings dictate my We Are Live.
Since when?
Not doing it tonight. Because you know what? I'm still going to enjoy talking on a podcast. Okay? Is that okay?
I mean, that always happens, and that's fine.
We'll see how I feel in the next 5 minutes after we dive into this game. Happy Thursday nights. How about those Kings? My God.
I've had way too much time to soak this in. A drive home.
Yeah, so you were in San Francisco doing pre and post game with Chelsea Gray. I had a Stockton Kings game at 7 p.m. So I drove down to Stockton early so I could watch the Kings Wizards game. And that game ended 10 minutes. No, it was longer than that. I don't know how much time passed because I was so irritated by the end of the Kings game that I'm like, all right, I need to collect myself and call a G League game now. Yeah. I need to lock in because I'm so locked into the Sacramento game. I've already done my Stockton prep, but I'm just oh, I need to reset and I have to move on from this emotional time I'm having right now with Sacramento and lock in the Stockton and Santa Cruz.
Thank goodness Stockton won.
And I was by myself tonight, so it was different, God. It's not like it just lean on you.
No. You had to do all the work. And just hide your emotions of how you're feeling. Because, I get that. I get that on so many levels. And, yeah, I was really frustrated tonight. I'm just disappointed. I'm sad.
They suck you in again. They suck you in before this game a little bit. Were they starting to suck you in with how they were playing? It's
not about, the sucking me in or whatever, but it's about, my confidence and expectations, even going into tonight, wasn't like everybody else's. And I think a lot of people find that, are you protecting yourself? Are you being negative? No, I'm going by track record. Mm-hmm. And just because you string a few games together, I just don't think that always shares the whole story of what you truly are.
A couple of requests tonight for the live chat.
Yeah.
Let's keep it civil and let's not be toxic. By the way, I understand you're frustrated. We're all frustrated.
For sure.
But let's use this as therapy together. We could talk it all out together.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to turn into this guy, he's so shitty. He sucks. Trade him tomorrow. Let's just be adults and talk.
Yeah. You can feel certain ways, but don't be irrational, And I get it. There's places to vent.
The reason I'm saying is just because I want to be able to read the chat and reference stuff. But if it's just going back and forth,
I know.
It's just
It's more fun when there's actual basketball conversation and not just the solution is fire everyone.
You like John trying to make us feel better tonight in the chat?
What do you say?
The Wizards beat Miami too, guys.
That makes me feel better.
Before we start the podcast, I just want to look back at that game and see
who was playing. Oh no!
When was this? They don't win games.
Right up there.
All right, they beat Miami on March 10th, 110 to 108.
Wow, they won back-to-back games.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler did play in that game.
Well.
No?
It happens,
Bam Adebayo played in that game, huh?
I mean, the Wizards could be turning things around.
Not a big deal. That team was in the NBA Finals last year, and they lost to the Wizards.
You know, I really got to give a lot of love and credit to the Wizards tonight. I thought they no.
On second thought, not so bad, huh?
No. It's not like that's the thing. I think I think this. You can tell me if you think differently out there. I think Deuce and I are pretty fair when it comes to talking about the other teams, and like when it's one of those games where it's like, wow, this team is like scrappy and they play hard and they're good and blah, blah, blah. There is none of that I felt from the Wizards tonight. And I know we'll get into it, but I basically felt like they had a game plan. They stuck to it. They executed it. But that doesn't make them a good team at all, in my opinion.
Well, they're not.
That's what I'm saying.
They won their 5th home game this year, though.
Yeah, good
Only
for them.
4 home wins. And the Kings fell to 8th. Yes, Brandon, they fell to 8th. All right, let's talk about it. Appreciate you guys who are here for being up late and hanging out with us as we try to figure this one out. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We appreciate you guys so much for being here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
You know, sometimes, Morgan, you think I would learn my lesson. All the letdowns I've experienced in my life from parents, you know, specifically my dad.
I love how triggered you are after a really bad Kings loss, that it takes you back to really bad.
It does, because it reminds me of being let down. And I'm going to be honest, guys. I allowed myself back in. This team in the month of March before this game, I'm like, look at this. The net rating, defensive rating, Keon is playing great defense. Everyone kind of locked in. Feels good. Okay, you're handling some of the adversity with injuries. Okay, take care of business. You got the Wizards. Woo! You're cruising, and you're going to inch closer to the 5th spot. And, of course, on a second half of back-to-back, they go take on a Wizards team that coming into this game had 11 wins, the worst record in the NBA. They had only 4 wins at home, and Sacramento goes there, messes around, and loses an important game in March to the lowly Wizards, 109-102.
It's triggering.
I mean,
yeah. I feel more, I don't feel as much shock. Like, I think I saw someone in the chat put, so stupid game. And it's like, yeah, that's just like, I just feel like, ugh, that was dumb. That was so dumb. Really? And it's disappointment. It's all the things that I didn't want to feel on a Thursday night. There's no excuses. Like, there's no excuses. You can't blame health. You can't blame, and I know everything, and I know we'll talk more about Kevin Huerter, but like, you can't blame health. There's nothing to blame. You can't even blame a second night of a back-to-back with this game. You are playing the worst team, one of the worst teams in the NBA that doesn't have a spirit, that has chaos, and you decided to allow them to play some of their best basketball against you.
And when you say that, it wasn't really good either.
That's what I'm saying.
They tried to gift wrap this game to Sacramento multiple times. The Kings went, I don't want that gift.
Yeah.
I don't want that game.
Just like that, yeah.
So this year, we've seen them lose now.
I don't know.
To the Pistons at home, who cut like 2 players after that.
Correct.
And we're missing guys. We've seen them lose to the Hornets at home. We see them go at Portland shorthanded, lose on the road. And now we see them lose to the Wizards. And then on the flip side, we've seen them win in Minnesota twice. We've seen them beat OKC twice. We've seen them beat Denver. Even if Denver's a little shorthanded, they have some amazing wins. And it just leaves you with the ultimate frustration, because right when this team looks like they're figuring it out, we're left going, maybe not. And on top of that, the loss drops you to 8th. And now you're back in the play-in. When this tonight, I'm sorry, going into it, in my head, it was a win. Not that I didn't take... if I was playing, I would take them serious.
Yeah.
No doubt. But to me, with how the Kings have been playing lately,
Fair.
this should have been a win. And you could tell me about the missed shots tonight. They missed a shit ton of open looks in this game. I'm fascinated to see what the final numbers look like. I mean, Fox started, 0 for 10 in this game?
Yeah.
Couldn't make anything. The Kings were 0 of 7 from 3 in the first quarter. They were forcing some turnovers early, and you're thinking, okay, they can capitalize. They were missing everything. But then they'd go on these runs to get back in the game. Think about the run they got at the end of the first half. Got back in the game. Then they come out in the third quarter and just shit the bed. Can't get any stops. Go on another run. End up taking the lead in the fourth quarter. And then I thought they went in the hero ball. They took bad shots late. Kuzma killed him. Denny Abdia, he started going at HB multiple times in this game. Kings had zero answer for Kyle Kuzma, who dropped 33 points.
Superstar.
And the Wizards win 109-102. Where did this go wrong tonight? Like what?
From the start.
I guess my thing is, how does this happen to this team? Why is it, as Malik Monk said after the game, why is this their kryptonite? Why are bad teams giving them these type of issues? Is it a mental thing? Is it them walking in, starting to believe their own press? They're seeing the social media stuff. They're seeing the numbers. Look at the defense turning around. They're feeling the vibes, and then they walk in, think they're just going to win tonight? Like, what is it?
I don't know, because I can't. When I look at a game like this and look at the way that they came out, it's not like you're going, oh, it's an effort thing. It's a body language thing. Like, so I have no insight on, oh, mentally they're different against these bad teams. They look like they came out ready, but they looked sluggish. Like,
they definitely did. They look slow out there to me.
And that's going to happen, right? But how do you push through it? How do you do something else good if your legs are tired? You know, like with your arms, or how do you make a shot, or the extra effort? And there were some big extra effort plays even. Chelsea was pushing this play so hard in the third quarter. And it was, all I remember is the 72nd point. And it was Keegan Murray made the bucket. But what happened was Davion saved the ball in, after it was second chance opportunity. It got to Malik, who saved it, and then it swung around to Keegan, and she was like, there, that's going to be the moment. That's going to be the swing play that changes things around. And we were laughing because after that, then they went on another run. But it was just like the rest of the game. They'd go on these runs, but catch up and or go a little bit ahead, and then it would go right back to whatever shit basketball that they wanted to go to. And so, yeah, I don't know what the one thing was tonight. I don't know what the one thing is against these bad teams, but it's not fun, because now it's like you said, they could have been in the 5th spot and they're in the 8th.
Well, they inch closer at least to the 5th spot. They wouldn't have been in the 5th spot, but inch closer to the Pelicans in the 5th spot. Yeah, if you would have told me before the game that the Wizards would turn the ball over 20 times, that would lead to 26 points and score 109 points, it's like, I think the Kings won that game. And I was just so disappointed by the offense. And the talking point after the game, I listened to Mike Brown, even De'Aaron Fox, they're like, oh, we missed shots tonight. I'm not disputing that. They missed some shots tonight, and some good looks.
A lot.
They had 32 shot attempts in the paint. They scored 34 points in the paint. They were 17 of 32 in the paint. Fox was 2 of 10 in the paint. Fox missed some stuff around the basket tonight that I'm just like, how?
And,
especially early.
And getting blocked and just everything, couldn't figure it out.
This Wizards team allows the most points in the paint in the NBA. Almost 60 points in the paint per game. And I thought Sacramento fell in love with the pull-up three. There were some times where they had it going, and getting some good looks, and I can live with those. But the rushed ones, and one that jumped out to me is when it was a close game. It looked like, oh, maybe the Kings are going to escape with this. Huerter blocked a Wizard shot. It's 92-91 Wizards. Block a shot. Oh, Kings are pushing in transition. Huerter decides to pull up from 3. And look, and maybe I'm being the dumb fan that like doesn't like it because of the result. No, I'm sorry. I don't want that shot in that situation. You guys aren't shooting the ball well from 3 tonight. Let's drive to the hoop. Let's attack. Let's get to the free throw line. Let's make some free throws, or let's get inside the paint, get the ball moving around, finish at the rim, and take the lead. He missed that 3, and then on the other end, the Wizards hit the 3. All of a sudden, a 92-91 game that could have been the Kings taking the lead turns into 95-91. That's one play in the big grand scheme of a 48-minute game, but that just really, I thought, showed exactly what this game was tonight, where when the game got close, bad shots went up, bad passes went out. I hated the late game execution.
It's how do you adjust? This team has been shooting the ball well from 3. And if it isn't one player, it's another, right? Even if it's Harrison Barnes or it's Malik Monk, whatever. But in a game when the feel isn't there, I know shoot or shoot, and you're going to be like, no, we got to keep taking those open threes. Like, in a lot of ways, duh, I understand that. But in so many other ways, when you just look at that one stat of the Wizards being one of the worst teams at protecting the paint, you should be attacking in all different ways. Now, the Kings did in a lot of different ways, right? And in those different ways, the Wizards were collapsing and stopping. But I have seen this Sacramento Kings team in multiple players, from Malik Monk to De'Aaron Fox to Domas Sabonis, not only take some nasty contact from some of the better defensive teams in this league and finish, but like get through and figure out a way. And it was like they could not figure out a way with the way that the Wizards were packing the paint. I thought the Wizards, sure, I'll give them some credit, because I thought their game plan of collapsing on whoever was coming in the paint and trying to protect it, and even going on Domas, they would just, all 3 people would go on him, active hands, he would lose the ball, or active hands, he would have to pass the ball out for an open 3. But that's exactly what they wanted. They're like, this team's shooting like shit tonight. Here you go. We're going to do that now in this second half. And the Kings never got things going. I almost wish, I even said this to Chelsea, I said, I almost wish that they just, like, instead of taking the open 3, took one dribble in and took like a baseline jumper, or took like a mid-range shot, rather than trying to just live or die by the 3 tonight.
They were 11 of 39 from 3. That's 28%. Taking a step back in the month of March, though, it's not any prettier. They're 24th in three-point percentage in March.
Oh.
They are shooting 33% this month.
Really?
Yes.
See, so it's just really individuals like that have stepped up, like Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes and Keon are shooting the ball well from 3. But the guys who launched the most threes aren't shooting the ball well this month. Malik Monk is taking almost 7 threes a game in the month of March. He's shooting under 32% from 3. De'Aaron Fox, he was 5 of 15 tonight. The guy took 15 threes. Is shooting 34.7% from 3 this month. And Keegan Murray, who was a 40% three-point shooter last season, this month, taking about 5 a game, is shooting 25% from 3. And then the other guy who you count on a lot to knock down shots, Kevin Huerter, is out. So your top 3 guys right there in three-point shot attempts are not knocking down threes this month. I want to see more attacking. I'm glad you brought up the Sabonis thing, and I felt like the Kings thought, hey, Rashawn Holmes is defending him. That's a serious advantage for us. Let's feed him the rock and go to work. But look, you really think the Wizards are going to provide single coverage with Rashawn Holmes trying to go toe-to-toe with Sabonis? No, they're going to bring over someone quick. They're going to throw from different directions, and they're going to try to force turnovers. And Sabonis had 6 tonight. I thought Sabonis was soft with the ball tonight. I mean, there were some, I'm like, where's the awareness? I really struggle with this sometimes because he's been great this year. Again, we're talking about one game, but the Houston game and then this game today, you're just going, you've been doubled before. Mm-hmm. You get triple teamed before.
What didn't click?
We got to be quicker with the decisions. We have to feel it coming, right? We have to understand when it's coming and get it out faster. I think the Kings offense, when it's functioning at its best, is with the quick decisions.
But then he did have some that would end up in an open three, but it's like they weren't.
Sure.
And it felt, and maybe that too, Deuce, the paint was so packed that guys weren't cutting into the paint. That guys were like, you know what, we're not going to make it more difficult down there. But at the same time, I'm like, then you even said this, get in the dunker spot, move somewhere else. Like it doesn't need to be directly to the low post. Like come to the high post.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Put him at the elbow. Even have him out above, at the 20-foot line, right?
Yep.
And orchestrate from there. And I know, hey, they'll drop off of him. That's fine. We'll run some dribble handoff action. Make him come out. Let's see how they handle that.
There was a lot of pick and roll.
Yes, and to their credit, you're right. They packed the paint and all that. But this is the Wizards we're talking about. You're not going to sell me on this.
Oh, no.
Memphis,
No.
Memphis came in and competed the other night. I'm like,
went hard.
This team is one of the top defensive. They're top 10 defensive team, and that's with all these guys missing. So predictable, and it's like you play into their hands, and then you take bad shots. You're taking quick shots, and I know the whole motto is, hey, if they're open, you take them. I'm like, not all the time. I don't love the pull up threes by some of these guys.
Not when you just need to see the ball go through the basket, and that's what. Not only did you need to see the ball go through the basket, you needed to see something work, within the offense. It felt like the Wizards were forcing the Kings to have to go through to try and find a way to score on the second action or the third action. And it was like, what is it about them not being able to create off that first action and just go and execute? I can't sit here and act like the Wizards have this fantastic defense and that's just what was working, but it sure as hell looked good tonight with the way that they were slowing everyone down, blocking people. They were handsy, and then they were getting things done on the offensive end as well.
I think that's we talk about the missed shots and the frustration there, and I thought the Kings, again, settled late. And that's what's frustrating is if there's a game where you're just missing shots and you're playing the right way, you're just missing shots, it happens, right? But what can you control? It's getting stops on the other end. It's changing it up. It's attacking. Hey, can we get to the free throw line? Can we find ways to get inside the paint? Can we step in and hit a midi? Just score.
Anything.
And instead, you're just launching three after three after three. In my opinion, you can't just keep playing that way. It did not feel right. And then defensively, I mean,
my God, the line drives.
How many straight line drives did they allow tonight?
1 billion.
And you go, well, they also had stretches where they went on a 15-0 run at one point. They went on an 18-0 run at one point. They closed the half on a 21-4 run. They showed that they could get stops at times. And then they have stretches where they can't stop anyone for what seems like 10 consecutive possessions, and it's easy. I mean, Kuzma, straight line drive. Denny Abdia, straight line drive. And you're like, this team can play a disciplined defensive game against Dame Lillard and Giannis, against LeBron and AD. But the Wizards, they can't stop Kyle Kuzma. It's insane to me.
And I would even be fine. I would have even been fine if it was like, Kyle Kuzma went off. It was one of those games where he's just a Kings killer. But they really slowed down everyone else, stopped everyone else. That was not happening. That execution was not happening in any way, shape, or form. I'm talking about from their closeouts looked late at times, which when a team like the Wizards are shooting the way they were shooting, they only made 10 threes, but they were, shot 40%, whatever, but they shot 50% from the field. They were making everything else. They made the Kings work. They were swinging the ball around, doing what they need to do, but they were attacking. They were being aggressive. And I felt like the Kings also got frustrated when the refs were calling some of the ticky-tack fouls at the top when they were trying to get handsy or be aggressive. And it was like, we've seen these calls before. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Just stick to your game. Don't get frustrated. Yeah, it was just a different vibe tonight. And that vibe bled through all 4 quarters. The rotations were so weird, so on and off, so weird tonight.
Are you talking about the substitution rotations?
Yeah.
You're talking about defensive rotation.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm talking about substitutions now at that point. But yeah, but even that, because Mike Brown was looking for an answer on the defensive end.
Well, Keegan was getting cooked tonight. You don't see that often. He's played some really good defense,
Sure.
but in that first half, I'm like, is everything okay? Like, Kuzma's blowing by him, right? So Mike Brown ends up going with Kessler Edwards at one point. I thought Kessler in those minutes, it looked good.
It did.
Like, he came in and the Kings got back in the game because I thought Kessler Edwards and the Kings, that lineup that was out there was like, oh, okay, they're getting some stuff. You got Kessler Edwards out there with Keon Ellis.
Yeah.
The Kings are getting some stops here. So that was a good stretch, and that's when the Kings closed on that 21-4 run in the first half, and they got back in the game. But then they come out of the second half, and immediately you're like, all that work you just did, you just threw it away. The Wizards started the third quarter on a 9-0 run, and all of a sudden you're down double digits again. It goes to 14, balloons up after that, and you're like, what is happening? Yeah, I really can't explain it. And there were some puzzling things you talk about with the rotation. Keon Ellis got the start tonight. Keon Ellis played under 21 minutes in this game.
Yeah.
Mike Brown takes him out in the first half. When did you take him out? Played most of the first. He took him out early in the third quarter, okay? He took him out early in the third quarter at the 9-11 mark after the Kings got off to a slow start. He didn't come back in until with 2.5 minutes to play in the game. Look, I know he's a young guy, and hey, you gotta coach these guys up. You just last night after the game talked for like a minute about how you've coached for 30 plus years in the league, and you've never seen a player with that type of feel, active hands, instincts. He plays like an old soul. He is an old soul. I mean, his hands are second to none. Just let him play. He's been one of your better players for the last, 10 games here. If he made a couple of mistakes, fine. Here's what I do know. You can't get stops. I know this guy has shown the ability that he can get some stops. And even if he made some mistakes along the way, let him figure it out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I felt like there were multiple times you could have put him back in. And instead, he was rolling with Duarte, who was missing everything tonight. Mm-hmm. I mean, Duarte, after having a nice stretch, was 1 of 7 from 3 in this game? 1 of 8 overall? I just don't understand how Keon Ellis goes from doing what he has been doing to barely getting to 20 minutes tonight.
Yeah, it was, I would say, like, there was a lot of things that seemed off like that were confusing. Because even with Kessler Edwards in the second half, I felt like wasn't getting minutes after being part of a really good run in the first half, right? And so there was just things, I felt like Mike Brown was looking for a lot of answers, wasn't trusting a lot of guys, which, by the way, made sense. Vibes were off, like it felt like guys were sluggish. So he's like, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. But then there wasn't enough trust. There wasn't enough being done that had consistency with some of those rotations. And then we saw Malik Monk at the end of the game when there was frustrations there as well with him getting subbed out by Mike Brown. Mike Brown said something, Malik going down the line, and it's like, F this, I'm going into the back. And when I saw that, I was just like, shit, like that sucks when you see emotions go to a different level because you want your guy out there, right? And I asked Chelsea, I was like, Chelsea, great. 3-time WNBA champ, plays with some pretty iconic players. And I'm just like, how would you deal with an emotional teammate like that does that? And she's like, communication after. Like, I need to know if he went back there as an individual because he was mad at himself, his own game, if he was mad at the team or something else, but communication needs to happen.
Yeah, Mike Brown took him out of the game, and Mike Brown was hot. I don't know. I haven't gone back to go see what the play was that was so frustrating for Mike Brown when he took Malik Monk out late in that game. It was like 15 seconds to go. Mike was definitely saying some stuff, and Malik was upset and then went right back, like you said, looked like he went to the locker room. Those two go at each other. I think they challenge each other. I think they have a great relationship where they can do that. I think Mike Brown's gotten the most out of him and has helped Malik get the most out of his game. And I think Malik has proven to Mike, like, hey, trust me.
Yeah.
Malik's a super competitive guy. I think he was super frustrated by what went down tonight. I mean, how could you not be? You know, he's a guy that if he is struggling or the team's struggling, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's one of the few guys I feel like you look at this team, you go, oh, I can tell the Kings are losing because he's upset, or I can tell the Kings are doing well because he is vibing.
And
right
you
now.
want those passionate guys.
Yes. So I don't really look too much into it. Like this happens. Coaches and players get into it. It's not a great look for him to go to the locker room after that, but also like he's trying to cool off. I don't know if he went right to the locker room or he went in the tunnel to catch his breath. He's pissed off. They just lost to the worst team in the NBA, and his coach is pulling him. He wants to be out there. The guy's a competitor. So I don't like trip about it at this point. I think, of course, people will make more of it and be like, well, you know, in the Athletic article with Anthony Slater, he said he doesn't like coming off the bench and, oh, he's just going to leave now. He hates Mike Brown. I don't think that's the case. I think those guys have a different type of relationship, and I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
Well, I mean, that's literally why I asked Chelsea, because I think it's asking a current player about like how you would handle one of those things and how it makes you feel as a teammate. And I love her response is just literally, no, it just needs to be communicated after, and, you know, and I go, oh, great. Because this team, what I do know about this Kings team, they communicate. You know, they're talking to one another, whether they have an issue, whatever it is, in the locker room. You know, Trey Lyles talked a lot about that in one of our things that we did together. And it's like, that's great. And I love what we've seen mostly since that players only meeting. And you've seen a lot of this team come together, trust each other on the floor, play some pretty good defense. But there's been like 2 duds since that time as well. And I'm like, the duds are just, they're so bad.
Yeah, I mean,
they're so bad.
And even the Rockets, who have been playing better basketball, like you allowed a 45-19 push, and the Bulls game, you know, you're up 22. You know, so you're right. The duds are just like, guys, what? And tonight qualifies as one, and I think it's just missed shots are frustrating. And I'm trying to think what I'm most irritated with this game tonight. I think it's probably defensively, like just not locking in consistently.
Yep.
Because I just believe that some nights you're going to miss shots, and they could have had, you know, better shot selection. But you know what gets you easy shots sometimes is forcing your opponent to miss. And for as much love as we've given the Kings defense before tonight with how they've competed, how they've been able to just stay in front of their man, they weren't able to do that tonight. And then you're leading to help because someone's getting blown by. Then the 3-point shooters are getting good looks, or they're pump faking and driving in.
60 points in the paint for the Wizards.
Dude, that's,
you know,
on 40, they were 30 of 47 in the paint. Like 60 points. They don't have Domantas Sabonis underneath there.
No.
They started Rashawn Holmes tonight. Rashawn Holmes had 16 rebounds, by the way.
Yeah.
He had more rebounds than Sabonis tonight, which is wild.
For him.
But yeah, it's just really disappointing. I felt like they were just this. Honestly, I'm thinking about all their losses this year. Even taking away, it's the Wizards.
Yeah.
I think it is probably one of their worst. Like just in terms of like the offense, they just couldn't string together.
That was it.
More than a few minutes of good basketball. It's like, hey, we got 7 stops here. Then we're going to just allow them to score after that. You have to have a killer instinct, and I don't think this team's ready to be legit yet. You know, I think we all know they need help too. But even if you acknowledge it, hey, this roster's flawed, you win a game like tonight. This team may not be great. They're not. But they're good. This team is good. And they shouldn't be dicking around and losing this game when it was a winnable game.
And you have like moments like you talk about, like they would string together a few good things. De'Aaron Fox had 5 steals in the first half.
Yeah,
and within those steals, you know, what were they capitalizing on? What was coming out of some of those steals in transition? And sometimes they would have really good moments and it would create something. But then you see the next defensive possession down and you got someone line drive to the basket, scoring in the paint on this Wizard squad. And that's where it was just like, why are you working so hard? And then someone else isn't doing their job on the other side. Everything felt very off in that way.
I want to look at some of the points in the paint for people tonight. I feel bad for Rashawn Holmes, by the way. He was 2 of 9 in the paint tonight. My goodness. Kuzma in the paint. He had 18 points in the paint on 9 of 12. 18 points in the paint, Morgan? Jordan Poole was 4 of 5 in the paint. Denny Avdia, 5 of 9 in the paint with 10 points.
Yeah, Avdia was like...
Dude, he had a stretch where he killed him. Corey Kispert. What does Corey Kispert do? The guy hits threes mainly. Good on him. Yeah. The guy was 5 of 5 points in the paint.
Great game plan.
10 points in the paint. I mean, it's just...
I mean, you guys, the Wizards had 20 turnovers. That led to Sacramento Kings having 26 points off of those 20 turnovers. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's Wizards making their shots, but they were making their shots because they were getting easy looks in the paint. They were being super aggressive, and Kings just weren't locked in defensively.
Okay, so are you more disappointed with the defense and the offense tonight?
I am, because it's a controllable thing. You're gonna have nights you're missing your wide open threes. You're missing all your shots, and of course, there's things I would have changed on the offensive end that I'm disappointed in. But truly, it was defensively. I felt like they wanted to be locked in. I'll say that. Like, they came out like, okay, let's do the same thing we did against Toronto. Like, I felt like they had that mindset, but there was something in their bodies that they couldn't execute, that they couldn't, not like just a sluggish thing. It just felt like there's something else with determination and urgency even at the end.
And Mike Brown needs to trust his guys more. He just needs to. And Keon Ellis is a good example of that.
That's fair.
Can you explain to me, in your opinion, why you think he only played 20 minutes in this game?
Well, I think it's exactly
there was a mistake, and he just put him aside and like coachable, teachable moment.
I don't even think it's a teachable moment. I think Mike Brown allowed some of the, like, everyone was allowing things to frustrate them and take them out of this game. Whether it was someone doing wrong and Mike Brown didn't like it, and he was like not trusting guys, long enough leashes, he was getting frustrated, was like looking for answers. I get it. But I felt like there was mistakes there. There was mistakes with not making in-game adjustments, even on the offensive end. I thought it was weird when they kept trying things like in the pick and roll and having Sabonis in that short roll and getting the ball a little bit too high, and 3 bodies would collapse on him. It was from the start of like what they were trying to accomplish on offense, and then an individual like Sabonis not making a quick decision.
Yeah, and that's another. I'm glad you brought that point up, like the ball being too high. Some of the passes tonight.
Yeah.
Even when they weren't turnovers, I'm like, they could have been. I mean, they were off target. You had guys trying to chase down a pass. Why is everything so out of sync in the game tonight?
That's Deuce. Everything was out of sync. Yeah. Everything was bad. And I'm even talking about, like, there was times De'Aaron would attack the paint, and then, like, when he's getting blocked or he's getting stripped, I didn't even feel like he was soft with it. I just felt like his timing was off. His being in sync, being just in it. And that went for everyone. Sabonis, his timing with the ball, and then like 3 people collapsing and couldn't battle through, where usually he can bulldoze through anyone. So yeah, it was just everything fell off tonight.
What do you make of these back-to-back messages here? One says, well, they usually beat the best team, so what does it say about the team in the playoffs? Championship. And then playoffs will be interesting because technically, not that I'm banking on it, we do play well against good competition and execute a game plan against talented teams.
I just can't. I can't bank on any of that. I think with the inconsistency that we've seen all season long,
same.
It's like the track record. When someone shows who they are, believe it. And with the Kings, that's why going into this game, I wasn't that confident. My producer, with even 6 minutes left, was like, no, the Kings are going to win this game. Like, they're going to win. And the confidence there, I'm like, I want to feel that one day. I want that feeling to be so genuine because I know that I cover a great team that can, like, turn it on, finish it off. They can depend on rely on someone that can just be clutch and go. And, like, that's De'Aaron, right? But, like, I want to feel that. And I have not felt that all season long.
And that's the thing. There's games every night in the NBA where a team that has really no business of being in the game has a lead, and then the other team, maybe in the fourth quarter, starts turning on. Great example tonight, the Hawks. They were in Phoenix, and they had control of that game a little bit. Well, the Suns turned it on, and they did what they needed to do. The Kings got the lead in the fourth quarter. When you're a really, really good team, you go, okay, we got to switch. Denver's done it so many times this year where a team's hanging on. They go, we're going to turn it on here and close this shit out. They did it the other day against Minnesota. I know Minnesota's shorthand, but they turned it on and figured it out. The Kings just aren't at that point yet. You know, I think it's rare. I think more times than not, you see them struggle to close things out or struggle to execute in some of these games. And it's pretty frustrating. Brian in the chat says, Deuce, Keon had 4 fouls and wasn't as good as Kessler and Huerter. It's not complicated. He didn't have 4 fouls in the first. I mean, he played 20 minutes tonight. You get 6 fouls. I mean, you can't rave about a guy and he's been getting results. And then the first sign of maybe struggle or messing something up, you go, sit down. I just don't subscribe to that. You got to let guys figure it out. Coach them up, bring them aside, be like, hey, Keon, you see this mistake you're making? And then go let him figure it out. And if he was so bad tonight, then why do you put him in with 2.5 minutes to go in the game?
Right. Well, and obviously some of those fouls too, I feel like 2 of them were like the ticky-tack, like he was just being aggressive at the top. But I mean, they were called. Yeah. But like you said, he had 6. So like, and you're desperate. The urgency needs to be there from everyone. Yeah. And I just didn't feel it. I felt like even when the Wizards had a 6-point lead in the fourth at whatever point it was at, it just felt like the Kings were never going to figure out. They either needed an entire fourth quarter of playing desperate, urgent basketball, or they weren't, or it was going to look the way that it did.
Appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe as we talk about this Kings loss to the Wizards. Let's give a shout out to our friends who are at Northwest Exteriors. They're the best. You need to make sure to check out their website, trustnorthwest.com, Morgan, because if you need windows, there's only one place you go, and that's to Northwest Exteriors.
Yeah, if you want to save money, if you want to keep in all the cold in the summer, you want to keep in all the heat in the winter, it's seriously the best. So make sure to go reach out to them today to get a free quote.
This is on you, Mo.
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
That was weak.
I was harmonizing.
Can you give us your Beamless Night song?
Yeah, I can.
Please.
It's a beamless night as I lay here sleepless. It's a beamless night and I'm waiting for you. It's a purple beam that shines so bright in the freaking sky, but I lay here beamless.
That hit tonight.
Did it?
Yeah. That hit tonight.
If I were a beam, I'd shine bright for you. If I were a beam, I'd be there for you because I'm beaming. I was just mixing like 7 songs together.
I was like, where is this going?
I was like doing Beyonce's If I Was a Boy, and then it was like going into Shallow. I needed more time. Ugh.
Yeah. Also in the chat, Brian is good job, by the way, Maureen.
Yeah, thanks.
Poop on that. Brian saying that players always sit when they pick up their fourth. He didn't pick up his fourth until late in the game. He had 3. when he came back into the fourth
But
quarter.
not only that, though, here's my one pushback to that too, Brian. The game was shit. It was dog shit.
Yeah.
Shit. Like, and at that point, it's my point to it being that bad is like, you go with what you need, and then you figure it out when it happens to get 6 at that point.
Larry would like you to know, thanks, Mo. I needed that. Wild says, Beamless Night encore. Manny says, dang, Mo, no energy. Mo has more energy and effort than the Kings tonight, says Adam.
Oh.
That was you did that. That was an intentional thing.
I see.
Where else did I want to go tonight? Oh, we learned some stuff about Kevin Huerter.
Yeah.
So we knew he had the dislocated shoulder. Now it's been revealed he suffered a labral tear. And now he is weighing options, meaning is he thinking about surgery? What's going to happen? I just don't expect to see Kevin Huerter again this year.
No. Well, here's another thing, because Chelsea and I were talking about we've both torn things in our shoulders.
Okay.
She's obviously done it at a professional level and with many resources. And I did it at a JUCO level with very little resources. And mine had basically eroded over the years. So it was just easily coming out of its socket. Where his, hopefully, since this could possibly be the first time, it could be like pretty easy to rehab and repair if they decided to go that direction and not have to do like orthoscopic surgery, tie it up in there, whatever. So if that was the case, Deuce, and they could do like the tape to like keep it in and rehab and then like get him ready to go, I mean, he could be back for postseason basketball.
John Morant suffered a labral tear this year, and he's been out the whole season.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's not going to be good.
The other, Julius Randle, had a dislocated shoulder. He's been out since February. So I just don't see him rushing back for this. This is not one you would rush back for. It sucks. It really sucks. And I know it's, he's been an easy target for people this year, and he's had a disappointing season overall. I think he would admit that too. But there's no doubt, like, when he is right, how he can help this team.
Yes.
And we saw in January and February when it was clicking, when he was knocking down shots and his ability to play make a little bit. And,
and he's a threat out there, even when he's had his up and downs.
It helps your spacing.
Yes, you still have to worry about him. Like, you still have to think twice. You're not just going to, like, come under the screen on Kevin Huerter, even if he's missing all of his shots. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's in missing another body that was part of your starting unit. So even that consistency is gone for you. It's tough. I feel bad for him too, just with so many ups and downs. Like, this just can't be good for his mental health.
Yeah, he's possibly finishing the year averaging 10 points a game. He shot 44% from the field, 36% from three-point land. So obviously a big dip from his 40%, which was a career high last year. The points per game I knew were going to go down this year for sure, just because Keegan was going to get more opportunity. And, Fox is taking shots, a bonus, all that stuff. But I just didn't expect the efficiency. And it does suck because you're right. You think about, like, for him, like, the last thing you want to do when you're struggling is to get hurt.
Because then you can't even, like, fight your way through it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't even redeem yourself.
No.
And it's like, it's
There's
just
nothing
depressing.
you can do. It's a shoulder.
Yeah. No.
What do? You can't shoot.
You can't even.
It sucks.
Dude, I'm not kidding. And if it's really that bad, it comes to the point where even your everyday stuff, like taking a shower and washing your hair and just like doing whatever around the house, like all the things, it screws with your entire life. It sucks.
Trey Lyles is still going to be out a couple of weeks. Sasha Vezenkov, it sounded like he was close to returning tonight, and then he was listed as out. So maybe he makes his return coming up against Orlando. But at this point, you just need more bodies too. And while Trey is out, having Sasha, who is a good rebounder, he showed that. We know he has the shooting ability too, especially for a team right now that's struggling from three. Yeah, you can use that guy. You can use him. It just also being realistic. The guy hasn't played in a while either, and he's coming off an ankle injury.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be one of those things, like, wait and see with that situation. But I'm with you where it's just like adding the bodies.
Yep.
And especially when the bodies in Sasha and hopefully Trey Lyles, if he can come back, whatever. But like, those are both shooters. Those are both guys that can be a threat from beyond the arc. And you kind of need that. This was tough. And I think because we were on such a high last night after just a dominant performance against a team that you're just supposed to be dominant
See,
against.
I'm glad you brought that up because this is what like so many people bring up.
What?
Oh, second half back to back. The travel. They got into the hotel at like 3 a.m. last night. I acknowledge all of those things.
Yeah.
That, by the way, every team in the NBA has to go throughout a season.
Yep.
But you just blew out that team last night. You didn't play heavy minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just got to fight through these things. And it's more to me a mental thing than anything. You
beat the Bucks and the Lakers on a back-to-back. And I know it
Yeah,
was at
yeah.
home, but like they have star power.
How about when they beat Denver on a back-to-back after losing the night before in Phoenix?
You guys.
In Denver. So it's like you can come up with every, excuse in the book, but this is just not it. And this is why it's so disappointing. I mean, we're to the point now, like if you're listening to this, you're going, you guys don't even sound angry. It's because it's just pure disappointment at this point. It's not surprising either. I think it's slightly surprising right now for me, though.
Okay.
Because
how come?
Well, it's not surprising from the standpoint that we've seen it this year. We have seen the inconsistencies. It's slightly surprising that it happened now when it seemed like, all right, they're playing some pretty good basketball. They've responded well, right, this month. And it seems like they understand what's on the line here.
Yes.
And this is one of those games that should be a W. Like, you should be able to maybe not have your best offensive night missing shots and still win the game. And so that's where you leave going, what the hell? And the fans are feeling it this year because of it. You could talk all day about, man, it's going to be another winning season. We have all the perspective on the planet. Yes, this is better than winning 27 games in a year. Acknowledge.
All the things.
Yes, Mike Brown's about to be only the second coach with a winning record in Kings history. Acknowledge. This is only going to be their 10th winning season in 39 years. Acknowledge. It's still annoying as shit that these games like this happen. Because you know why? Because we know this team, although flawed, is better than this.
Yeah.
We're starting to see that they're better than this. And so when you have a game like this, you're like, what is this?
Well,
what is this?
It's that, but it's also like the perspective I do keep trying to tell myself too. And I don't think this is just to make myself feel better, but I'm like, I do look at the Western Conference and I go, God, the Kings, they're still a good team. Just other teams got that much better. And that's where like, I go, okay, that's fine. But it's nights like this that I go, you're 100% the better team. And like, when I say there's other teams that just got that much better, this is not one of those teams. And so this is a night that you're just supposed to get your shit done. That's it.
Like in the chat, who is this name?
Oh, no.
Kilpie says, Kings should beat the Wizards with half of the roster and me, Morgan, and Deuce off the bench.
Come on. They're still NBA players.
Okay, let's talk about a couple more things I failed to mention because we've just been ranting and raving about like all this stuff. About why? De'Aaron Fox's night tonight, 25 points. He had 6 steals. He did it on 10 of 30 shooting. De'Aaron Fox took 30 shots tonight, 15 from three-point land. I liked how he played early from this standpoint. I felt like he was missing a lot at the rim, and he kept playing with force. He kept being aggressive out there. And I was like, he's playing through it.
And on the defensive end, kept being aggressive.
I liked it early. Then he started to get hot a little bit. I was like, taking too many threes for my liking. He had that stretch early in the fourth quarter where like, oh shit, is he about to win this game? I know. But then I struggle with this as someone who watches basketball all the time because I'm not an NBA player that has the mindset of like, dude, I don't care if I'm missing shots. I'd rather me shoot it than someone else. Yeah. De'Aaron has said that to us. Mm-hmm. I just go, I get you're hot, but like, you don't have to take a 3 here. You could attack the basket here. And 15 threes is a lot, Morgan.
It is.
That's a lot of
And
attempts for a guy who can finish at the rim. I know he has 2 of 10 in the paint tonight, but we know he can get to the mid-range game. Like you said, step in. He's an elite mid-range guy.
I just felt like there was moments where I'm like, take that one dribble in, screw the other point.
Now
Just
the
get
point
the
he
two.
said after the game,
Yeah.
and I'll give him this.
What?
The guy takes 30 shots, and someone in the chat just brought this up, so thanks for the reminder. And this is why I love a live chat sometimes, because you guys contribute too. You remind me of things.
Thanks. What is it?
Let's play a game.
Okay, this turned into a game.
How many free throws did De'Aaron Fox shoot tonight?
0?
0.
No way.
0.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
Crooks.
There's no way.
There's no way.
He took
That guy,
0?
There's no one that can usually stop him. Now, when I say usually stop him, because there was definitely times where, like, Wizards were just being aggressive, being physical, and I didn't think they fouled him every time. But interesting. And noted. And for all the times that he was actually getting into the paint. I know he took 15 threes.
15 threes is too much. We can acknowledge it's too much.
Well,
and I again, you're the
were-
shot selection late. We've seen this from the Kings before. A game gets tight, and I think they look at the opponent and they're like, "We can beat this team," and they go, "We'll launch a 3 here." They're going for the dagger as opposed to just scoring. Duarte did it tonight.
They were given
Fox
the
did it
3 though.
tonight.
They were given the 3.
give-
No, I know, but that is my point. And I feel like sometimes that is where the in-game adjustment needs to happen. Like, hey guys, if we're not making this shot, like, I know it's usually keep shooting, shoot or shoot. I get that being the message, but I think it's fine to shift that message once in a blue moon. Just based on instinct. That's all.
And sometimes they'll take them and make them. They're just okay.
Oh yeah, there was a few of those where I was just like, no, yes.
Yeah. Oh, he's like when he hit like 3 in a row at one point. Like,
Not
okay,
only him.
here we go.
There's other people out there. I was like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
take that then.
So that was that number jumped out to me tonight. Sabonis, his double streak did continue. Quiet night for him. 14 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 turnovers on 6 of 9 shooting. Keegan Murray came out aggressive early, which was exciting to see.
Yeah.
I think I saw Sabonis get irritated at him once where he passed up a shot. And he's like, shoot it. And then Sabonis turned to the bench like, he needs to shoot it. Like all frustrated.
Telling on Keegan.
Keegan was 7 for 11. He had 16 points, 2 of 4 from 3. So it was good for him to knock down some 3. Harrison Barnes, he had 12 points, 6 of 8 at the free throw line, 3 of 7 shooting. Keon Ellis had 2 points. He played just 20 minutes tonight. Malik Monk off the bench had 20 points, 6 of 13 shooting. He had 4 assists, 1 of 7. I think one of the more disappointing numbers of the night for me is the fact that Sacramento was out-rebounded tonight, 45-37. Besides Sabonis, no Kings player had more than 5. In fact, it was Sabonis with 14. The next highest player was Fox at 5. Barnes, 2. Murray, 2. Ellis, 1.
Yeah.
That was disappointing to me. And then you look on the other side, Avdia had 9. Kuzma got you 6. Rashawn Holmes had 16, including 6 offensive rebounds.
Yikes.
That's brutal. I would also want to mention Kessler Edwards because we talked about him a little bit earlier, what he did. I mean, I think at times you may want to put him out there. I mean, he's
9 minutes.
He's long. He's stronger. I think he's stronger than he was last year. We saw him play a game in Stockton a couple weeks ago, and you watch him like, geez,
He
this guy.
lifts up his shorts a little, just like getting a defensive stance, and you're like, you're just a rock. Like, what? And like his length, his NBA body, yeah.
And we talk about all the rebounding in this game. The guy played 8 minutes and had 9 minutes. He had 3. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's better than some of the guys who played almost 30 tonight. So.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Mike Brown just go back to him a little bit. Like, so I'm like, nothing else is working. Control what you can.
How do you
control the
balance that,
defense, man.
Morgan? How do we balance like, hey, you got to go with a hot guy and then trust a little bit too?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Brown. Like, I honestly don't feel like this happens all the time. I feel like it's very noticeable in the losses, for obvious reasons. And so that's why I just go like. He also has had a very interesting roster all season long, it feels like, with starters not getting it done, having to figure out how early do I pull those leashes. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of adversity for how good things have been and almost having that 6th spot. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on. I know. It's a frustrating one. And Orlando's just like not going to be easy. And
No, it's not.
And that's where I get worried because I'm like,
Well, you know what? You just can't worry anymore because the reality is you just don't know with this team. I mean, you do. They should go out and compete against Orlando, by the way, 42-28. 42-28. They are coming into this game winners of 5 in a row. They beat the Pelicans tonight, 121-106. They're scrappy. They play hard. They play great defense. By the way, Brandon Ingram went down in that game. He's going to have an MRI on his knee. I believe that's what the injury was. That sucks for him.
that really sucks.
But
I'm
yeah.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, and I mean, he's grabbing in this play. He's grabbing his left knee. He looks like he was in a ton of pain. He left with 9:52 to go in the third quarter. Just he like hyperextended it for sure. I mean, it did not look good. He got helped off the floor, and that just sucks for a Pelicans team that had been playing well too. Anyway, Orlando won tonight, 121-106. Banchero had a triple-double, 20 points, 11 assists, 10 rebounds. Suggs had 22. They get after it defensively. Yeah, it's going to be tough. So, I don't know.
I don't know what to expect either way. I hope you get the Kings team that you see against some of these better teams.
Just compete, man.
Hey, I'll take it, huh?
Hey.
How many days off is that?
One. They play Saturday.
Where am I?
They play Saturday, and then they come home. Quick trip. They come home for the Sixers, and they got the Mavs twice next week. Dude, this is the stretch run, guys. Buckle up. This was game 69 tonight. It was not nice. Thank you. Any other final thoughts? Have we covered everything tonight?
Yeah, we covered everything. This was tough. I was like, it was sad because we were starting so many hours later after a really bad loss. So, emotions were different by this time of the night. I hope for all of you. Thank you so much, everyone that came back and joined us too for a late night chat. Oh,
yeah. And congrats to Kyle Kuzma, a rock and soul player of the game. 31 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. I almost put a Photoshop of him in a Kings jersey to be a troll, and then I stopped myself.
Good job.
Kyle Kuzma, the rock and soul player of the game.
Where would you have found time to do that? Like,
I don't have time to do it. I could do a Google search of Kuzma Kings. There's enough Photoshops out there I could have just stolen. Duh. Anyway, go to Rock and Soul Diner, just 6 blocks from Golden One Center. Amazing local food. We're talking about breakfast all day, lunch, dinner, drinks, and you can go there and watch a Kings game. Maybe you go there Saturday, have a Benny because the game is pretty early, like an early.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can get breakfast all day. So
get it. Get it. Do
get
you have a moment of the night?
Wasn't there an alley-oop to Keon? Oh,
cool.
Oh, shit.
In the first quarter, yeah.
Okay.
Was Alpha Steele, Fox,
Yeah.
Fox to Ellis. Okay, we're going to note that, and we're going to note Malik Monk and Mike Brown getting mad at each other at the end of the game.
Yeah.
It's a moment to remember, or
It
Truth
is.
Jewelers moment of the game.
It is. I'd like to see how. I mean, I don't feel like anything's even going to happen.
No.
Like they're passionate, they're emotional, all the things. But I just hope it channels into this like good energy. That's all I want. I enjoy when things are good. I enjoy competitive basketball. Even if they lost tonight, it was like, what? Okay, here's one question really quick. What hurts more, losing a 22-point lead or losing like this?
This.
Okay.
Because when you lost to the Bulls, a
Yeah.
22-point lead to the Bulls, annoying. Yes, 100%. DeMar DeRozan gets buckets, and he's done this before. This guy's clutch. He took over. Okay, man. You look at their roster, and you go, there's a lot of, like, decent NBA talent here who can cook you.
Yeah.
This Wizards team has been lifeless. They lose all the time. This was only their 5th win at home.
I mean, they did beat the Heat.
Oh, you know what? They beat the Heat, and that's what you need to remember tonight, Kings fans.
Yes.
When anyone makes fun of you saying, you guys lost to the Wizards, you suck, you go, Jimmy Butler lost to the Wizards too.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel so much
Ooh,
better about
good.
things? Bam Adebayo lost to the Wizards.
Say it.
And then you go, well, Miami beat you without any of those guys.
Hey, whoa. And that's when you have zero comeback and you walk away from the situation. You just walk away.
My final thought, Morgan.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Feels dramatic.
Yeah. This team just leaves you speechless sometimes. And that's how I feel. It's just like, I understand someone on the outside looking in, or maybe a jaded Kings fan, or maybe a non-Kings fan would be watching like, what do you mean? That's what they do. They're inconsistent. Yeah. But usually like inconsistent teams, like they don't beat all these teams at the top of the West and have some really good moments and then win back-to-back games against tough competition. Like they don't do that and then lose these games. Like this team, let's give it up to the Kings for 2 years in a row, losing to the Wizards.
Hey, consistency right there.
2 years in a row,
Okay.
losing to the Hornets.
Oh, now I'm feeling good about the consistency.
Has there been another team that's lost to all these teams this year? To the Blazers, the Hornets, the Pistons, and the Wizards.
We need to look it up.
I don't think that's happened. And yet the Kings are like the only team that's won in Minnesota twice.
It just doesn't even make sense.
And that's why it is. So it's like, oh, this is who they are. You can't be surprised. It's like, yeah, but it's surprising because we see the glimpses, right? It'd be one thing if this team was like below 500 or like hovering about it. This team is 11 games over 500. And we just rattle off some of those awful losses. Now I've been bringing up some of the other ones that they had.
And think about I hate the what if of like, what if they just won those games and where they would be? Wild.
If they let's play that for a second. Let's just say they win those games that you go, they're supposed to beat the Hornets at home, the Pistons, shorthanded Blazers, and tonight. That's 4 games. So
Okay.
let's just give them 4 more wins. If they had 44 wins right now, they would be the 4th seed in the West.
That's insane.
If they just won those games, if they just won those 4 games I mentioned against the shit teams, they just take care of business. That's not even acknowledging the blown leads at Phoenix when they were up 22 or the Chicago game or just those 4 games right there. They would be ahead of the Clippers. They would be number 4 in the West. And this is how fragile it is. And so when we get worked up over these losses, yes, this is why. Because now you're talking about the difference between being 4 with home court advantage in the first round or playing a play-in game where you may have to beat the Suns in one game, the Warriors, the Lakers. Do you want that?
No.
Is that what you want? You know what? Mike Brown, put me in that Kings locker room. I want to talk to you, the coaches, the team, and let me get you juiced up.
No.
Let me explain to you the sense of urgency we need to have.
Just no. Keep it here, bud. Keep it here. No one's gonna let you in there and do that. No.
Give me 3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes.
It's still very.
I'll get that
strange.
team to run through a wall,
I think
or I'll get them upset.
they'll figure it out. You can use your speeches here. Okay.
Get a little physical with them, maybe.
So no, dear God, no.
I just go up to Sabonis and go. I go like this. Go up to Keegan. Just go like this to Keegan. We'll slap him. Just like Just not hard, just like a little. Like
I love that you wanted.
Because you know how shocking it would be if I just went to kick him up like that to him?
I would punch the shit out of you.
And then I'd be like, that's what I want! That's the fight, Keegan!
But it wouldn't be Keegan. It would be one of his teammates having his back. You're like, guys, you don't get the practice. He's supposed to do the punching.
Oh my goodness.
So dumb. Oh, get him, Deuce. You guys are funny.
Make sure to drop some comments on this YouTube channel too. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We appreciate all those who made it through the entire pod. We appreciate everyone who downloads our pod. You guys are the absolute best.
And everyone that is leaving comments, love,
Yes.
been reading them all. So thank you so much. Even after when this is just posted, appreciate you guys.
We love you guys, but we gots to go.
We'll see you all Saturday. See ya.
Deuce and Mo.